Need a battery. Oh, okay, so, yeah, no, we can go.
Okay.
Where we...
I believe we left off with the, you were doing the mileage and the DOT about a truck. You had reached a truck that they were giving you a new truck and you didn't want to switch to a new truck because you have to clean it up and so forth.
Right. So when after complaining about the truck, they said they were going to sign me on the 12th, they said they were going to sign me a late model truck.
And the forgiveness is the 12th
of January 09.
12th of January 09. Thank you.
And when I went on the 13th to pick up, no, when I went on the 12th to pick up the new truck, they said it was a mistake that another driver had been assigned to it by another dispatcher. And so I said, well, what kind of truck are you going to give me at this point? So they told me, go out and look at 5 different trucks. And I went out and looked at them, and none of them all of them were dirty, filthy, and been smoked in. All kind of trash. And it was worse than the one that took me 4 hours to clean out the first time. So I went back and told the dispatcher, I said, you know, you need to have this truck detailed. You know, I can't clean it out for $40. So he told me to go home, and it was too late to dispatch me that day anyway. So I went home, and about 8 o'clock that night on the 12th, I got a call, and they said they had a load for me to pick up at 11:30 at night, and they told me where it was going. I think I had 3 drops somewhere, and I told him, I said, well, what truck are you assigned in? So he gave me the same truck that needed cleaning out and everything. I said, okay. I said, but you got to realize that I'm gonna sign it. I'm gonna go on the clock. As soon as I get there, I'm gonna get there about 9 o'clock. I'm gonna sign in on the clock, and this load that you assigned me, I'm not gonna have enough hours to complete it. He said, well, if you can't complete the load, then we can't give you the load. So.
And who is this?
This was a nighttime dispatcher.
Nighttime dispatcher.
I have him on tape. I'll give you all that information. So I turned around and came back home. That was the 12th. So when I go back over at the 13th, they give me the same truck, and I told them they need to have it detailed before I could drive it. That's when called me back in and said, we can't dispatch you until you get because you got some missing logs. So, why don't you go home, catch your logs up, and then we can dispatch you. Like, it'd be tomorrow or something, we'll dispatch you. Meanwhile, there's 2 or 3 guys out in the lunchroom catching up on the logs. So I went out, I had my car parked across the street because the reason I didn't bring it in the facility, I thought they were going to fire me that day. My wife told me, said they're going to fire you because of this DOT complaint I filed. I said, well, they probably will. So I left my car parked across the street at the truck stop. And so I went across the street, got my logbooks out, the trunk, came back over and got me a tuna salad at the cafeteria. And I sat down and ate, and then Jeff comes out and he see me with my logbooks and eating, and he turned around and went back inside, came back out again, and now I'm doing my logbooks. He go back inside, he come back out again, and he comes over and sit beside me. He said, how long is it going to take you to do your logbooks? I said, shouldn't take that long, 3 days that I forgot to fill out before I took time off. And then this one day was the 6th of January that was missing, and I'll be finished. He said, well, why don't you come inside and in the office and finish them up. I said, well, at least let me finish eating, So he goes back inside, come back out with Luke, which is his supervisor. And
Luke, you said
Luke, Simon Dinger. So they said, well, we don't want you doing your logs out here. Why don't you come on inside and meet with us? I said, Luke, if I'm going inside and meet with you, then I'd like to take another driver with me. Well, why you need to take another driver with you? I said, because you plan on firing me. You don't want to fire me out here, but I want to take another driver with me. And he said, what? I had these complaints right there on the table beside my logbook. He said, what's this? And he picked them up. He said, you know this is against the company policy to be passing out propaganda on company policy. That's in your driver's manual. That's against the rules. I said, what's propaganda about this right here? I said, that's a DOT complaint that I filed. He said, we're going to, you're going to be disciplined for this. And we need you to come inside and talk to them. I said, well, so I went over and gave a couple of copies of this to a couple of other drivers, and they didn't want to have nothing to do with it. I said, well, one of you guys come in and be a witness? They said, no, we don't want to do it. So he kept on saying, let's go inside. And he took the material that I had and threw them in the trash can. Took the ones that I had given these guys and threw them in the trash can. And then when
Was that Luke or was that Jeff?
that was Luke. Then I had 3 logbooks, and I was still working on filling them out, and he just snatched them out of my hand. I said, you can't do that, Luke. I said, those are my logbooks. He said, no, these are DOT logbooks. Okay. He said, let's go inside now. I said, well, if I go inside, I'm gonna tape record the conversation. And I was taping it right then with this tape recorder. I said, I'm gonna tape the conversation. He said, that's the only way I'll go inside. He said, okay, it's okay for me to tape the conversation too. I said, of course, I'm probably gonna tape it anyway. So I go inside, and they put me in a little room, about 9 by 9, and
You said they put you in a room. Who was they?
Jeff Ames and Luke Simondinger.
Okay, thank you.
And told me to be seated. And meanwhile, Luke is on the telephone. And I assume he's talking to someone in Green Bay at the main office. He's got the telephone to his ear all the time. He's dealing with it.
Now, where were you physically located at this time?
Now they take me. Here's the.
No, I mean, where are you at? What city is all this taking place?
Fontana.
Fontana. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
At the terminal in Fontana. So they take me in this little room, tell me to be seated. He and Jeff walk out. They close the door. I picked up my recorder and looked at it, and the battery was low on it. And I said, shoot, you gotta tape this thing, you know. So I pick up the tape recorder and I go outside and I go open the door, and when I went to go out the door, Brandon, one of the young guys who he's sort of like a supervisor. He works under Jeff and Luke.
And you said his name again is?
Brandon. He's got a long sort of Asian name. I have his name on the police report. And so Brandon is standing there facing the door, and I walked forward. He said, where you going, Walt? I said, I'm going to get a battery for my tape recorder. He said, you can't leave the room. And he kind of puts his hand up, like, go back in the room, Walt. And he started walking toward me. I said, I'm not going back in that room. And now I'm getting a little leery. What the hell are you guys planning on doing to me? You shoot me up with something? I'm getting a little, I am getting a little concerned now. So the door is about halfway between here and that door. Goes out the front of the building, and it's got a bar that you push to open it. So I said, I'm going to get a battery for my tape recorder. I'll be back. He said, no, you have to stay in the room, or you can't leave. So I went and pushed the door open, got my right foot out. He grabbed me by the arm. He grabbed me by the arm, my right arm, with his right hand, he grabs the door. I got my foot out the door. He grabs the door handle with his left hand and he pulls the door closed, pulled me back inside, and my foot got caught in the door, and he pulled me back so hard that apparently my elbow must have hit my rib cage. And I didn't believe anything was broken or anything.
You're referring to Brandon.
Brandon.
Brandon is the only one who was in the room at the time with you?
No, there was more people in the room. There was people working, all probably 15 to 20 people, but they got, they got these cages up. And I think it was one guy. This one guy came, a black guy, light-skinned black guy, came down that way as I was leaving the room. But
so there were other people that saw what was happening
yeah.
Saw Brian grab you.
Yeah. Those people saw it.
There was other people looking at the time when this took place.
Right.
You have any names?
No.
No names?
So he pulled me back in the room, and I said, Brandon, you can't touch me. You can't do that, And so I make a turn, and he's blocking me. He can pull me out of the door. So I made a turn, and I rushed toward the back door, toward the lunchroom. And he's right behind me, and he started to grab me, but he decided for whatever reason not to. So I opened the door to the lunchroom, and I made a right turn and headed out the back. And there's a bunch of drivers in the lunchroom, and I got the name of one of the guys who said he saw me going out the back door. And he saw Luke and Jeff right behind me. Jeff and Luke must have been somewhere in the cubicles there, because they were right behind me. Brandon, he didn't come outside, but by the time I got out the back door, Luke and a guy named Harvey, a black guy named Harvey, who I'd never seen before, followed me for about 100 feet, and they stopped me. They got in front of me and stopped me. I said, what's this all about? He said, we're here to escort you off the property. I said, for what? He said, because you've been terminated. I said, terminated for what? He said, you've been terminated for refusing to load yesterday and for logbook violation.
Who told you had been terminated? You mentioned there were
Luke.
2 people. Luke is the one doing the speaking,
Right.
although this gentleman named
Harvey
is there as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said, why is Harvey here? I said, why you got this guy here? Because he's black? He said, no. He said he's the closest person that I grabbed coming out of the office to be a witness. And the closest person actually was Brandon, because he was right behind me when I went out the door. But so I said, what you mean I refused to load? Well, last night you were given a load and you refused it. So I didn't refuse it. I told the guy I had to clean the truck, and I was going to clock in before I started cleaning the truck. And I probably wasn't going to have enough hours to finish the load that he assigned to me after cleaning the truck. Well, you've been terminated for refusal load and for log violation. I said, first of all, but you got me damn logs. Now I don't have no logs. They got November, December, and January logs. They still have them. Because they wouldn't even let me finish them. The other guys.
November, December,
and January.
In January. So November, December of what year?
November, December of 2008 and January of 09.
09, thank you.
Luke he snatched those out of my hand. I haven't seen them since. Asked the
Were you
police.
carrying those in your right hand or left hand? The notebooks or the logs, should I say?
I'm not sure whether I had them in my right or left hand when he snatched them out. But I mean, he just snatched them. Said these logs belong to the DOT. I said, well, DOT can't even take my log books. You know, the first page of the log book is theirs, and I turned it in to the company.